Hey, preschool. How many of you have ever heard Miss Jessica say the word self control? And I've even told you guys to use this in class before. We've been doing things or working on a project or coloring, whatever it is, and I say use self control. And I usually say it just like that because I'm asking you to be careful of how you're acting. And do you know the Bible actually talks about using self control? There's a verse in the Bible, Philippians 4, verse 5, and it says, "Let your moderation be known unto all men." And that's a big word, moderation. Can you say that word? Moderation. But it's a really easy meaning. It means self control. You know, the Bible tells us that we should let our self control be made known to all men. That means wherever we are, whatever we're doing, that we should use self control. And this is not always easy to do. And we're going to look at today a little boy that has gone to the store with his daddy. In one of the pictures, he is using self control. In the other one, he is not using self control. So, first, we're going to look at this one. And it says, poor self control. This is not good. And if you see, this little boy's name is Dylan. You see his face here. He doesn't look real happy, and he's trying to pull away from his dad here and get to a really cool green truck. Now, how many of you would like to have that big monster green truck? I think that would be really neat. There's lots of other things here on this store shelves that look nice. I like to bounce balls or throw them or shoot them at the basketball hoop, and there's some teddy bears and different things, robots some of you might really like, or maybe you want to play out in the dirt with dump trucks. When we go to the store, we can find a lot of cool toys. But, you know, sometimes when I was growing up, my mom would tell me, well, we're just going to look. And that meant to me, I knew that meant don't ask to get a toy. We're just going to look. Now, it's really exciting to get to buy a toy and pick it out and take it home, but we don't always get to do that. In using self-control, good self-control is the opposite of what Dylan here is doing, because in this picture, Dylan's dad told him that he could not get a truck or a toy on this day, and Dylan didn't listen. You know what he's doing? He's trying to pull away from his dad to get that truck and get it so that he can get it and take it home. But do you know when we see something we like at the store, should we automatically just start whining for it? Oh, Mom, I want it. Oh, I want it so bad, please. And whine. That's not using good self-control. Is there anything wrong with asking to get a new toy? No, there's nothing wrong with asking. But self-control, good self-control, is when we ask, if mom or dad say no, not today, that we answer back correctly and we say, okay. But sometimes this is what happens. We don't use good self-control. We have poor self-control, and we whine and we fuss. And when mom or dad tell us no, and we grump and we whine and we complain, we're not being very cheerful, or that makes us, we're not being very obedient. We're being grumpy and having a bad attitude about mommy or daddy telling us no. And if dad says yes to Dylan when he asks for a toy, using good self-control would be to say thank you. When mom and dad allow us to get things, sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. But when they do, if we've asked and they say yes, use your manners, use your self-control, and tell them thank you for allowing you to buy you a toy. What about this? I've seen this happen many times when I've been in stores, or even some of you maybe I've noticed or seen this before. If mommy or daddy says, okay, you can just take one. And, you know, there's a lady at my church, and some of the kids call her the candy lady because you guys would like her a lot. She comes every Sunday, and she has a basket. And do you know what's in that basket? You guessed it, candy. And she loves to share her candy with the kids at church. But she'll say, just take one. And some little kids, they don't listen, or they'll come up and they'll say, well, can I have 2 or 3? But is that using self-control when an adult says just take 1? Is it right for us to ask for 2 or 3 or more? No, that's not using self-control. And we should be thankful instead for what we do get. So self-control, we talked a little bit about poor self-control and using good self-control. And we talked about it at the store with Dylan, but we can use self-control no matter where we're at. At home, when mommy and daddy say it's time to pick up your toys, you might not want to pick up your toys. You might be in the middle of a game. But when they say it's time to stop, that means it's time to stop. And having a good attitude is using self-control, but getting mad and pouting and throwing a fit, that is not self-control. In line, and when we're at school and Miss Jessica or Miss Amanda or Miss Sanderson ask us to put the toys away and line up, if we don't do that right away and we get mad, or maybe we don't say anything out loud, but we kind of just go and roll our eyes, and that is not using self-control either. And so it's important. Remember, the Bible tells us in Philippians, the Bible says, let your moderation, your self-control be made known unto all men. And remember, there are always people watching that we can show if we're going to be obedient and act like Jesus, or if we will use poor self-control and then we're not showing Jesus to other people. So I hope today that you will practice using good self-control throughout your day, no matter what happens.